A business model is more than just making money. It's your framework for creating long-term stability. Let's go over some of these topics. First, you need to make money to continue to invest in your business, to reach more people, to have a greater impact. Imagine if you only broke even on your first two projects. How can you invest to go to conferences or improve your website, reach more people, and have in person sales meetings? It's also how you create long term stability in a business. The reality is, if you want to continue to do what you love, you need a long term stable business. It needs to run smoothly where you're not always trying to figure out what to do next. And finally, I know many of you find it difficult to talk about sales, and it's something that you've had a lot of bad experiences with, but you don't have to be that person. Think about the purchases that you've made. They all had some form of sales, not just at your work, but even in your personal life. Trust me, you didn't make those decisions by yourself. The company was helping you make those decisions. But more importantly, I think sales equals broader broader impact. The breadth of your impact. The more schools you serve, the more educators you serve, the more students you serve, it's the breadth of your impact that is greater, and that it's represented by the volume of sales that you have. Good solutions equals depth of impact, but good sales equals breadth of impact. There are different ways to structure a business, and I'm not talking about whether you form a C corporation, a B corporation, LLC, nonprofit, or sole proprietorship. These are the legal forms of your business. What I'm talking about is the vision you have for how you want to manage your business. So let's talk about a few. Self funded companies. Self funded companies require profitability to sustain themselves. You plan on hiring some employees and to have a bit more scale. Many businesses in education started as self-funded companies, and you've probably worked with several of them. Some of them have gotten quite large. Venture-backed companies. Venture-backed companies are generally any type of company that raised some form of outside capital by selling shares in the company. So whether they've raised money from venture capitalists or angel investors or friends and family, everybody expects rapid growth from the return on investment. And so venture-backed companies have different motives and different strategies in order to execute their goals. Many tech companies are expected to grow 10 to 100% a year at the early stages. And often investors are looking for really big problems and huge addressable markets, typically in the billions, before they invest. Independent contractor, whether you form an LLC or you use your own identity to provide services, as an independent contractor, you just plan on running your business solo. It's it's one of the ways you can start your business, and at some point you might transition into a venture-backed company or a self-funded business as you continue to grow and scale. Common revenue streams for product companies. Let's go over a few of these. Subscription model. You're familiar with this already. It's the monthly recurring fee that you pay for your Peloton account or even your internet service. Freemium model. We all use a lot of free software that we can use with a limited set of features. And in order to get the more advanced features, you have to use the paid version. Products like Calendly and LinkedIn are some of the examples. Uh, Pay per use models. These are solutions where you access an app or a service and you pay every time you use it, like an Uber or a DoorDash. So there you have it, a few different, some common revenue streams for services businesses. They just rely on a different structure. So the first one is fee for service. We're all familiar with this. Your accountant or plumber are fee for service businesses. They provide you with a quote or have a negotiated hourly rate and charge you accordingly. Project based. This is common for large projects that extend a period of time. Think about the contractor that you hire for your latest remodel. Retainer. This is when a client pays you a monthly fee and you apply time to it. And the monthly fee is kind of guaranteed like a recurring fee. Typically, this is paid to experts, advisors, and people with influence. If you want to work with a well known author and you want their advice every month, but you're not exactly sure what their deliverables are, then you might pay a retainer for something like that. Some less common revenue streams. Affiliate marketing. Assume that you have a popular podcast and you advertise the products of other companies. Often you'll get an affiliate marketing fee or a sponsorship fee. Affiliate marketing is quite popular with social media influencers. Philanthropy. Many organizations, particularly nonprofits, base their business model on selling ideas to philanthropy. In turn, philanthropy assigns the company to different projects or initiatives that they have. B2C, business to consumer, selling products directly to the consumer. For example, if you're starting an online test prep business, you're typically selling direct to the consumer. Based on this, think about some of the revenue streams that make the most sense for your solution. Of course, everybody's going to want a recurring revenue stream because selling is hard and recurring provides you with more predictable income. But not all business models fit that solution. So, as you add solutions and more capabilities, you might be able to add multiple revenue streams. But for now, let's just keep it simple and just focus on one. How you market and build your business will differ dramatically depending on the approach you take. Consider how your revenue model supports your solution, but also think about how your customers might experience your revenue model and which one works best for them. Pause here to complete this section in your lean canvas. What are channels? I'm going to talk about a few of these, but channels are tools and environments and partnerships that connect you to your customer segment. I always start with my personal relationships. These are the people I know well and have said that they want to work with me in the future on something that I'm known for. And so those are the first groups of folks that I'm going to go after. Next, it's my personal network. The associations and online networks like LinkedIn or your TFA alumni group. Basically, you have something in common with these people and you might be able to reach out. You're not going to get the same kind of conversions as you do with your personal network, but they may follow up just because you have the commonality. Social media, this is definitely hard to convert into customers. I mean, even if you had 10,000 followers, it's really hard to convert those folks to customers. But what social media is good at doing is actually allowing you to create brand awareness. So think about the times where you went online looking for a vacation or something, and all of a sudden on Instagram, you start seeing more vacation ads. Well, that's what they're doing. They're creating more brand awareness. Next is conferences. And many of us think about conferences first and attending them, and you don't know people or you don't know a particular market segment and you want to go to a conference. But conferences are great if you're going to meet a bunch of people pre-planned at one place, because it's definitely cheaper to meet a bunch of people at one place than you flying out to 5 to 10 different places. But think about all those times where you've gone through the exhibit hall and passed those booths, and you've also had introductions with individuals. And do you remember some of the conversations that you've had? Really think about how long did you have to have a conversation with somebody at a conference in order for you to remember what you talked about. Next is email. And email is a great way to continue to engage your audience. But if you just blast emails, people are going to call it spam. So a good way to capture emails is to create an opt-in or a newsletter where people opt into, so that you build your subscriber list and you're constantly producing interesting content that people want to engage with. And that leads us into digital content marketing. And digital content marketing is really a way to kind of reach out to multiple channels in a way that provides a lot of value. So right now, if you do a search for certain topics like the best productivity tool or application, the first 4 or 5 different search results that you'll see are actually produced by companies that offer productivity apps, or they're affiliate marketers that are selling their productivity apps. And what they're doing is they're providing analysis and comparison as objectively as possible, but in a way that is of value to somebody looking for something like that to help them make a better decision. And that's what people are engaged with. And so, you know, be aware of that as you go online in the next couple of days, and you could see what they're doing, and it'll give you ideas on how to create better content and engage your customers across multiple channels, whether it's social media, email, or follow-up conversations in a meeting. That content to create that value is really important. Now it's your turn. Which channel will you prioritize first? For example, cost structures. We can't go over all of the different cost structures. To continue, operating expenses include. So now it's time for you to put your cost structure. In the beginning, you really only want to focus on. So let's think about some key metrics that might be useful. Now take some time to reflect on your key metrics. I'd recommend writing down all. At this point, you've completed your first draft of the lean canvas.